It's Sunday morning. It's early. We're up here before the sun's up. We're one of a handful of blokes here. Got to park right on the river here. I got me 7-Eleven coffee. This shit's like crack. They wake you up. But the Lord's blessed us with a good day. There isn't a cloud in the sky. And there's a lot of low-lying fog. We'll probably have to wait for this fog to clear. Hopefully the sun burns it up pretty quick before we race anyway. Probably around 8 o'clock it should be all gone. They'll do a sweep of the river, do our breath test, get ready, and got the big girl there, the big black limousine. I'll keep taking a bit more footage of boats as they turn up because today's So the first wave's about to go, and here we are, double dash underway. I didn't pick up that boy, did I? Sweet. Thank you.
Where'd you get?
74.8 on there.
Like 74.5.2.
So we've made it one way on one leg of the race. We've made it from Windsor to Saxville. I didn't go over my speed cap, clipped 74.4, so if we go over 75 we're disqualified. I don't know where we're sitting with the field. There's probably, I don't know, 15 to 20 boats in my class. I'm not too sure. I buggered up the start. When I took off at the start, I had my motor trimmed right down hard to the transom. And then once we took off, I put my foot on the trim up button far enough that I thought I was sitting where I meant to sit. And as we come around the first corner, the big force squeezed me out, and once I hit his chop, it just started bouncing side to side, as you'll see in the footage. I got a bit confused. I thought maybe something was wrong with the steering or the motor or something, as usual, the boating anxiety. But it turned out I didn't trim it up enough. So once I trimmed it up more, the boat settled and it sat high, and I was able to find the zone again and stay into it. The other boys in their bullets next to me, a couple of them come up close to me, and it was a good bit of a battle there. We caught up to one of the boats in the heat in front of us as well, so we had to maneuver around them. At the same time we were coming up to a marker buoy as well. Just about to check the fuel, see how much we've got left. Scrutineering has checked our GPS and said we're all good, and we're just about to go on the second leg of the race from Saxville back to Windsor. So hopefully we can put in a good showing and get there and finish. That's all we wanted to do, was be a part of it and get to the end. So I'm pretty chuffed. The original start nerves have settled down a bit more, and yeah, let's just try and enjoy it for what it is. You're going to be here riding with me, and God willing, everything goes to plan and we get there to the end and we can sink a couple of cold ones and chat with the boys and just talk about how much we've had a great time. So stick around. Here we go, round two. Yeah, I just hope I have enough fuel.
At least there's some kind of tie up.
Got about that much in the bottom of the tank on the dipstick.
Can you start with a full tank?
No.
Oh, yeah, no, you can. got it! He's got a fucking move! Woo!
That one's for all you guys at home. And my dad. We made it back under our own steam. We just got back here to the ramp. So this is my fuel stick. That black mark is full.
That much fuel. That much fuel back.
Here we are, guys. We've made it home safely. I was going to do a time lapse of the drive home, but you wouldn't want to see me drive for like 9 hours in the rain, because that's what we copped. We've made it home safely, but not without Boatz and the Hood's fair share of adventure. Almost home, looking in the mirror, wondering why the boat's teetering, and I'll give you a look. So, as you can see, we've nearly lost one of our skids. I mean, luckily a week before I decided to put this polyurethane on the runners of the old trailer there. They've seen better days. They're completely broke. The trailer's sitting on hard on the chassis. We've lost one of our skids. But I mean, the old girl, not only is the boat built tough, but the trailer's built tough. This trailer hasn't been touched one bit since 1976. So we almost lost the old girl, but we pulled through in the end. And not to say the least, I was really pleased with the way the boat performed on the weekend. I mean, in our first wave, we come second, up against some smaller, lighter, more nimble boats with probably pushing a bit more horsepower. We're also up against that big Force with the big 300 on it. A lot better technology. And then in our second heat, we were able to get out in front, and the old girl just sat there. I mean, I did duff the start of my first race. The boat was porpoising side to side, and I didn't realise my trim down button on the foot pedal must have malfunctioned. It kept holding the motor down, but it wasn't until I got on the toggle on the gear selector I was able to get that motor up and get the boat sitting comfortable, and I got my head around nothing was wrong with the boat. It was just the trim was wrong. I couldn't be more wrapped with her. I mean, straight down into a race in a river that I didn't even know and hadn't driven before. We got 2 practice runs in before the race, and we were able to come out with that sort of finish. I mean, we didn't come home with a trophy, but at the end of the day, the best part of that weekend was just hanging out with all the fellas that are just mad keen boat enthusiasts and getting to talk to as many of you as I could. That was the highlight of my weekend, was just hanging out with all the guys that turned up. And a big thanks to the Upper Hawkesbury Powerboat Club. I really hope that more people will come next year. We're going to assess and see how we can improve and better our chances at climbing up that ladder. I think we would have put in some good times if I had have got that first race down pat a bit better, but I reckon we would have been up there close to everyone else. It would have been a really tight field, and yeah, I couldn't ask for anything more. I was a bit emotional. It was great getting out in front of those others there and driving up the river and just doing what I love to do. When I come around that last bend there, that last sweeper towards the finish line, I was looking up to the left to see if I could see a couple of my mates, and as you've seen in the footage, I was just pumping my arm with just so much excitement that we finished, and we finished out in front. And I'm trying to find one or two of my mates, and when I look up on that hill and I'm pumping my arm, I literally seen the whole hill just pumping their arm back at me, and oh man, it was so overwhelming. I was just trying to look for a couple of my mates that I knew I was there, but I just seen all the people on the hill just cheering back at me, and it was so overwhelming. It was one of the best experiences, and pulling off that win in that heat for everybody that watches and follows along, because you know how much bloody drama I go through, and to pull off a win in a heat there, it just blew my mind. It made me so rapt. Here we are, we live to boat another day. Thanks again, guys.